Newstalk ZB.
23 minutes away from 8, the sport after 8 with Andrew and Jason. Of course, meantime, the Prime Minister's back in the country. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Mike.
It seemed to go... what do you make of Nolene Taurua?
Oh, look, I mean, I don't actually understand what's actually happened there. I mean, It's good that it's ultimately been resolved. And it was good to see the Silver Ferns come back in that series, but at least they lost 12-11, I think, in that extra time. But... yeah, I honestly haven't been able to work out what's actually happened.
Does it bother you that we spend millions of dollars on a sport that seems dysfunctional?
Well, I mean, I think it's about... no, I don't think it is. I think it's a really important sport. I think it's well loved across the country. It's an important sport, it's just not well run. Well, I mean, that's up for them to sort their act out with their employment disputes.
Okay. It seems to have gone well. I mean, you didn't sign anything per se, but we got upgraded. You met the right people. You didn't make a dick of yourself.
Such a low bar you set, Michael.
The plane didn't break down. It seemed to go okay.
Oh, look, I think it was a great success. We transacted some business with Malaysia, which is I'd been there on a state visit. We upgraded our relationship with the ASEAN countries. We're only 7 countries that have that level of standard, which just means more investment, more exports. APEC was good to see, where 70% of our exports go to those 21 economies that are represented there. And then we had some very good sort of bilateral engagements with leaders, and we upgraded the relationship with Korea as well, which is one of the top 10 economies in the world. So all of that's just designed to create opportunity for New Zealand businesses. That's all I can do is create the conditions for growth, and then it's up to businesses to come forward and go smash it.
It was a smart thing to do to invite Trump to play golf. Do you think it's possible he may well one day do that?
Yeah, I reckon it could be. Yeah, I mean, he knew a lot about the golf assets that are here in New Zealand. The golf courses, he'd heard about them. They generally are in the top 10, 15 in the world. And if he's going to come down to Australia and New Zealand and this part of the world, then we should certainly welcome him here.
Yeah, the problem with your recommendation, Tariti, was it's a links course.
Yes,
and he likes a nice, nicely manicured PGA type course.
We can find something if there's enough good courses here. But that was good. That was a good meeting because he had very formal meetings with China and Korea, and then he met with us just informally or me personally, which was great. So he was very good.
Okay, the announcement this morning: the Chinese tourists say no longer need to do all the paperwork the way they used to if they come through Australia. Would you have liked to have done more? Because unless they do come through Australia, they've still got the same problems.
Well, no, actually, back in June when I did the visit, we did a few things. One is we got rid of a whole bunch of complexity and actually cost that they have around getting all their applications translated and certified and all those sorts of things. I think we're now processing Chinese visas in less than 4 or 5 days from memory. The second thing we did is we said, look, if you're transiting through New Zealand, we can have a lot more flexibility there, which has been great because there is new services that are coming on stream between China and South America through Auckland, which is really good. And the third thing is recognising that a large proportion of the Chinese visitors actually do to Australia and New Zealand in one trip. And if the Australians are actually saying, look, you're good with a work, travel or visitor visa, then actually why would we want to reduplicate all of that work? It's good enough for us too. So feel free to come over to New Zealand for 3 months. Okay, and then we also have that 5-year multiple entry visa in and out as well.
I don't know how up on this you were, but there's a lot of pushback last week on the education curriculum. And there was some concern, particularly because the full curriculum got put out for years 1 to 10, and a lot of teachers, educators, unionists, etc. I can't work it out whether they just complain for the sake of complaining because they don't like change, or they've got a genuine point. They seem to be indicating that some of the expectation around some of the things that kids will learn at a certain age is too complicated. It's too difficult. So are they dumbing us down? Or have you missed the boat here?
I feel very strongly about this, Mike. There's nothing more important for our future success in the next 20 years than getting our kids educated. There is a stack of high-paying jobs out there in the world, and we need them to come to New Zealand. And what's been happening is actually our standards have been slipping versus lots of other countries. We actually had over half our kids not at school regularly. We have half not where they need to be at on reading. 80% not where they need to be at on maths when they get into high school. And I don't remember the unions actually going after Chris Hipkins when he was Education Minister for 6 years and saying, hey, listen, we've got a dumbing down of the standards. Actually, we're actually underachieving and not doing this service by our kids. I'm not having Kiwi kids lose to kids in Singapore, Ireland, Canada, New South Wales, wherever. And so we are strengthening the curriculum from year 1 to 10 because that's the single biggest thing that we can do to set ourselves up for future. So, the unions, there's a consultation period. Be constructive. Don't be political. Get in behind. But where were you when the last 6 years calling out the poor performance?
Police, do we have trouble in the police? A bunch of people are now being investigated post the Miss Skimming thing, and now we've got falsified breath tests. Is there something going on in the police that you're concerned about?
No. I think there obviously are issues that are going through. They have their own investigations. The police is a large organisation, but it's very well led by the Commissioner. He does a really good job, and he's very happy to be very upfront and confront those issues when and where they do appear, and that's a good thing. All
right, Standard & Poor's say that water done well is going to be more expensive than the Labour alternative. Part of their reason is that, of course, the debt mechanism you've set up for councils to borrow could lead councils into some real debt trouble. If it all goes wrong, the water entity is the one that ends up in the problem, but the bill goes back to the councils. Any regrets on that?
No.
Or it is what it is?
No, look, I mean, Labour spent $1.2 billion on Three Waters and it went nowhere. We went to the credit agencies, S&P, and said, give us some financial structures that actually give the balance sheet separation, and so that those entities can actually borrow long-term debt over long-run assets and separate them out from councils. And I think we've got to a very, very good place.
But that's what S&P is saying. S&P is saying, well, yes, you've separated it out, but a council goes in up to their eyeballs in debt, they borrow more, then their water entity runs into trouble. Suddenly the council's bankrupt.
Yeah, but the whole point is, councils should be financed to a certain level of debt borrowing that they can do as councils. But when you actually have water entities that have assets that are 30, 50, 70 years long, the problem was that councils were funding those assets out of short-term money, and what they can now do is, like you can get a mortgage for a house that you pay off over 30 years. It's the same thing here as well. So, no, I'm really comfortable with that. I think actually it's the right solution, which is you've got real assets that you can go borrow against over the long term. You can borrow it at a higher proportion than you could if you were just a council, and all of that just means that you then have the councils freed up to actually, with the cash that they've got, to make sure they're doing the right thing. So no, I'm very supportive of what we're doing there.
Hospital bed announcement this morning, this prefab thing. I mean, it's like schools. Schools and hospitals are now prefabs. It's sort of got that corner of a car park, bit crappy, not what we want, third world vibe about it, doesn't it?
Well, we've got to do long-term investment in the hospital infrastructure. I remember Mike looking at there's 1,200 buildings and hospitals infrastructure in New Zealand. The average age is 47 years or something. So in the intervening period, in the short term, what can you do? And I think Simeon's been very pragmatic, saying let's put in 140 new beds in 5 different places next year. The thing that's interesting is we used to spend a bunch of money on classrooms, right? It turned out when we got to power, we discovered that it's like $1.2 million for a classroom, and only 20% were standardised. We standardise them and we lower the cost by half. Yeah. You can do twice as many classrooms for the same price. Now, Labor will say to us, you're not spending enough on classrooms. Well, no, actually, we're just being smarter about doing it, and we're doing twice as many as you were doing.
Speaking of which.
So that thinking across healthcare, across, if you think about military bases, if you think about corrections, I think there's a real opportunity there.
Okay. Speaking of which, I'm reading over the weekend that Transmission Gully, over the summer period, we'll have $32 million spent on it, fixing it up. It's a brand new road, and $32 million needs to be spent fixing up a brand new road. What's the matter with us?
I'm not aware of what the specific issue they're trying to fix is, but they
didn't build it properly.
Well, that may well be the case, but I think the reality is that we have been in a situation in New Zealand. I think we had 63,000 potholes across this country, and it's because we weren't doing renewals and maintenance. And so, once you build a road network, you do need to make sure it maintains its maintained.
Well, yeah, but if it's 20 years old, sure, this is about 3 minutes old.
Yeah, I don't know. The
reason I ask the question is not your fault you didn't build it, but what I'm saying is you do have a program of roads of national significance, and you've been spending billions,
and we've got to make sure.
Are we going to spend many more billions?
No, we need to build them once and do it right from the beginning, and build them for 110K, so they're actually built and certified for that properly, and all those sorts of things, which hasn't happened here.
Yep. All right, nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
You got any questions for Nolene Taurua? Any more? Do you want to know anything more?
Just when are we going to start beating Australians? That's all I care about.
Nice to see you. Christopher Luxon, 14.2.